Bon Jovi is an iconic rock band that has left an indelible mark on the music industry. This legendary band defined the 1980s rock scene like no other. And now, Hulu and director Gotham Chopra are giving us an all-access pass to their journey with Thank You, Goodnight, The Bon Jovi Story. Does this film have any surprises in store for fans?
I got a story to tell.
It's not just your average documentary. It's a journey through time and sound, taking us from the bustling streets of New Jersey in 1983 to the present day. With footage from 2022, we get an up-close and personal look at Jon Bon Jovi as he prepares for the band's monumental 40th anniversary. It's a pure nostalgia trip like no other, especially for those who rocked out in the 80s and still have a soft spot for the classics. However, it seems that the band members take themselves too seriously. The documentary could have benefited from self-irony and easiness. Jon Bon Jovi is a rock legend. He can allow himself to breathe out and just tell his story. Some viewers complain in reviews that each episode of the documentary goes in circles, talking about every little thing from the band's past. But it doesn't really tell a clear story. And because they only talk to people in the band, it starts to feel like they're telling a one-sided story over and over again.
It's my fault, I apologize.
From our perspective, what the documentary really lacks is the insights into personal lives of the band members. The film is all about Jon's work, but it barely touches on his family. Like he has kids, but they're not even in the movie.
I think it was just an important part of the process with this film to be open and honest about any and everything.
And Richie Sambora? He used to be married to Heather Locklear, but they don't talk about that at all. But guess what? We've got some juicy details about Sambora and Jovi's personal lives to spill.
Look, the greatest thing I can tell you about my relationship with Richie Sambora, which was fantastic, and still, as far as I'm concerned, he'll always be my friend.
In the film, Richie Sambora reflects on his sudden decision to leave the band.
Are we telling the truth or are we gonna lie?
I don't regret leaving the situation, but I regret how I did it. So I want to apologize fully right now to the fans, especially, and also to the guys because my feet and my spirit were just not letting me walk out the door. Turns out, Sambora's breaking point was an amalgamation of things that included the grueling tour schedule, but also issues in his personal life involving ex-wife Locklear and their daughter Ava.
It was a tough decision, man. You know, I had to leave that band, and then I had to leave my fans, too.
Heather was quite the catch back in the day, and she and Richie seemed like the perfect couple. After they had a fairy tale wedding in Paris, Richie and Heather welcomed their daughter Ava.
I'm a very lucky guy.
Their union seemed to be perfect. But sadly, things took a turn, and after staggering 11 years of marriage, they called it quits. The weirdest part? Richie had no clue Heather was going to file for divorce. He even said he was heading home to celebrate Valentine's Day with her just before the news broke. And here's where it gets juicy. Shortly after Heather filed for divorce, rumors started flying that Richie was dating Denise Richards, Heather's friend. Talk about drama.
If Heather and we were friends, I never would have crossed that line with him.
Now, we can't say for sure if that's true, but it's the talk of the town. And despite all the ups and downs, Richie says he still loves Heather, especially since they share a daughter, Ava. Time does heal old wounds. I mean, I still love Heather, and I know she loves me. She's the mother of my child, man. What can you say? In fact, Richie's been a pillar of support for Heather, especially in 2018 during her turmoil, which included multiple arrests and incidents involving alcohol and medication. He even hired specialists to help her out. Now that's what you call standing by someone.
Heather and I really respect each other, and we've become better friends, I think, now that we're not married than we were.
Luckily, Heather's doing great now. And through it all, Richie's been there, ready to lend a hand whenever she needs it. Well, you might think rock stars aren't the type for happily ever afters, but Jon Bon Jovi is here to prove that wrong.
His life, it's almost the polar opposite. Your life, married 18 years, stability.
Jon Bon Jovi and Dorothea Hurley met as high school students back in the late 1970s. The pair went to the same school in New Jersey, and when Jon first laid eyes on Dorothea, he knew that she was special. The high school sweethearts were immediately smitten and inseparable. They dated throughout the rest of their school years, but didn't rush to get married after they both graduated in 1980. Jon was determined to pursue his career as a musician, and in 1983, he formed his own rock band. The band quickly rose to success, and Jon's life was suddenly thrown into the spotlight. On the other hand, didn't aspire for a life in the spotlight, and for a brief moment, the couple was torn in different directions. Jon and Dorothea briefly broke up in 1985, and during that time, Jon dated actress Diane Lane for 5 months. After his breakup with Diane, Jon and Dorothea were drawn back to one another and managed to rekindle their love. After the couple reconciled, they knew that what they had was forever, and they never wanted to be with anyone else. After 9 years together, the high school sweethearts eloped in Vegas in April 1989. 4 years later, the couple welcomed their first child, a daughter they named Stephanie. In 1995, they had a son, Jesse, but Jon's rock star life sometimes got in the way, like when he almost missed the birth of their third child, Jake, in 2002 while he was on tour in New Orleans. Luckily, he managed to take a private plane back to New Jersey and made it just in time for Jake's birth. In 2004, the couple welcomed their fourth and last child, a son they called Romeo. Just shy of his 30th wedding anniversary, Bon Jovi shared that his fans were distraught after he and Dorothea got married. He explained, "It was like Harry Styles or Justin Timberlake getting married. I was that to the young girls in my time. When I came back from Vegas, my manager was furious. He was like, 'America's boy is now married. That's not a good career move.' The record company was also despondent." But nothing broke the bond between Jon and Dorothea, and their love stood the test of time. Or did it? Dorothea was nowhere to be seen at the New York City screening of Jon's documentary, a little over 1 week after attending the UK screening. As reported, it was a severe case of COVID-19 that kept Hurley at home. However, his absence raised eyebrows, especially after Jon's recent comments hinting at cheating in his marriage. "These are all the wonderful cliches of rock stardom," he told the publication. "It's about never lying about having been a saint but not being a fool enough to the home life either." He also confessed about having many girls in his life, but how could that be possible while staying loyal to Dorothea?
I'm not a saint. You know, I'm not saying that there weren't 100 girls in my life. I'm Jon Bon Jovi. It was pretty good.
Apparently, Jovi's revelations might have stirred up some trouble in his marriage to Hurley, so it's a waiting game now to see how their relationship weathers this storm. Will their bond withstand this test?
I have very few regrets.
As Jon Bon Jovi celebrates his 60s, the documentary Thank You, Goodnight, the Bon Jovi story serves as a reminder of his mortality. Yet he still exudes the charisma of a rock star with his wealth, devoted wife, and countless gold records.
The songs will outlive all of us at this point.
While the documentary taps into nostalgia, it falls short in delivering the personal stories that truly connect with the audience. But it leaves us with a lingering question. Will we get another hit from Bon Jovi in the nearest future? Well, let's hope so.